Well, hello everybody, and welcome to Tarot for Our Times. Just when you thought I was going to lose those little punks, Letitia James says otherwise. And so that brings us to our card of the day, and she's often appeared in my readings and others as the Queen of Swords. And she kind of came out, almost seemed to come out of nowhere, filed a suit, and then bada bing, bada boom. They have to stop downloading, get their grubby little paws off of the records, and destroy whatever they've had on fear of being held in contempt. And as we all know from various getting our YouTube law degrees, is that there is no pardon for contempt of court. And we're going to do some readings on that. Now, the thing is that they may say, well, we're not going to, we're going to pretend or so. No, but she's going to make sure that they do. And the judge has put a stop to it for a while. Now, whether that they say that may not hold, I think it's going to. I have a strong feeling it's going to hold. I think what I've heard is that their lawyers have to present a very compelling case for them to continue, which I really doubt is going to happen. So these and I trust that people have been telling these incels that all about what it's like to reside in Rikers Island or wherever they're going, Attica or wherever they're going to be. And that might be enough to put the fear of God in these little brats. So, okay. So, this is definitely, if they've heard about what happens in some of these New York jails, I suspect that they're all going through not a one or a two, but a 3-tower moment here. So let's see. I want to make sure I have some notes because there's a. Okay, so yes, this is definitely this has been filed in violation to the Constitution. And if any of you even stayed awake in 8th grade civics class, you know that they were in violation of the Constitution. So Letitia is back. She's back. She is really back. So let me see. Okay, so we're going to see today if the chances of their orders being carried out. And I hope to get some comments from people to see what you think of that. And then we want to find out about the long-term consequences for what Alonia Muskrat and the boys have done, especially what this is going to, the effect this is going to have on the tech bros as a whole. And also, I'd like to see what you think of this. And also, there's a running theme of this spy in the camp, that there's something that, well, of course, it doesn't, anybody in first week of law school would see that, yep, this is time to file the suit. But I suspect there's someone that has been feeding some information to whoever to whoever has the ear of Letitia James, just like in the previous readings. That as far as there being that one guy, Marco, having to quit because of his racist posts on X that he thought were gone. But voila, they appeared. So I'm going to think there is some Page of Swords reverse that is, he's playing a part in this. So I would also like to hear what you think. And then I would like to do a little bit of a read of like how are we all going to cope with this? This is just, we're being hit with one thing after another, but I'm telling you, it doesn't look good for the muskrat, and it doesn't look good for the entire felonious administration either. And it could be good. There's so many readings you could do on this. It could be interesting to see about how his Lord and Master is thinking about all of this too. So, time to get into these readings. Okay, so let me see. Well, the first one is, okay, the chances of their obeying the orders. I think if someone's given, it depends on if someone has given them the tour of Rikers. Oh, this is interesting. This just popped out, so I have a tendency to take this series. Okay. This is the Six of Swords, which is the Six of Swords, which is all about going from the choppy waters into the smoother ones. It's interesting because on this one there's just the one solitary figure without the guy with the pole and the two little kids, which means that the swords in the boat are for having them think about what's best in their own interests, and that we know that if any of these swords get pulled out, the boat sinks. This is also some intuitive stuff comes in here because we've got the moon in the background. So I'm going to say on an individual level, I'm going to, this is telling me that this isn't exactly, they thought they were going to sail through pretty smoothly, but now they have a choice to make. Each of them have a choice to make as to whether they're going to make the right one to sail through this dilemma smoothly and obey the court orders, because they are really flirting with jail. And I know that one thing I just cling to so much is when Glenn Kirshner said long ago that federal charges that can be pardoned usually have the local state charges right on their heels that cannot be pardoned. So I'm wondering if their babysitter is telling them about the consequences of this. So this hopefully with the energy of the decision. Here we have it's crossed with the energy of the Two of Swords in reverse. And the thing with the Two of Swords in reverse is that they pretty much know deep down inside what they have to do to save their little heinies, but they're finding it very, very hard. It's like, part of the Two Swords is being torn between what's in their best interest and the loyalty and I think they may have a little bit of a cult following, except the one in there that doesn't, that I think doesn't, but that they know what they have to do, but they're having a very hard time in seeing what they have to do. So I'm going to say they're still in the process of making the choice, even though they really know what they have to do. So let's see. Lying underneath that is, okay, wow, this is like, stop all of that stuff like they were gathering up. It's like all come to a halt because the Eight of Wands is in reverse. It's like, well, they're suspended in midair. And here we go. And and with this question, I am getting a sense of some kind of regret, and this is partially that has to do with the Two of Swords in reverse. This is kind of like they didn't know that this was coming, and in a sense they wish they could be back in their, I don't know where, I guess maybe South Africa, living in their little paradise with this, and the, absorbed in their screens and luxurious living and all of that sort of thing. And there is some regret saying, boy, I wish I could go back a few weeks ago and just say find somebody else for this. So that's going on. That's going on underneath, because this Six of Swords is telling me they really do want to get back into the smoother waters of their uncomplicated lives. So this is, oh boy. Okay, we have the Ten of Swords, and which begs the question of, have we been betrayed? Well, and this may come back to the overreaching, which I didn't think was going to go into 3 readings or 3 videos. It's like somebody has stabbed us in the back. I'm going to say, even if I'm wrong about that, I'm going to say that energy is there just because things are not going the way that they were told that they were going to be going. So someone has to be betraying them. And maybe it's quite a number of people. So I'm going to say that they're it's almost like they're pinned to the ground with these swords. And this may be kind of a hitting of a bottom for them. Like this is when I do readings on substance abuse, that they may start to feel they have no other choice but to comply. And so this may be, and the 10s are usually the conclusion of a suit. And this is the last card of the swords. So this could be the end of their doing this, and maybe good luck in him finding anybody else that's going to be risking their freedom for this. Because they could say they're going to maybe send them home and they're going to have to face jail there, and there will be no orange, will be no great pumpkin that's coming in to save them. Okay, so we have, as the crown of as the crown of this reading is all the illusions and the BS. Oh, and there is a crown in this thing. All the BS that they were fed, like, oh, you're going to be kings, and the roses and the adulation and the money and all of this stuff, which is, it's a smoke screen. It's really a smoke screen. So this is probably the overarching energy of this. I'll put this down over here. Okay. Then in opposition of this, we have, I swear to God, I shuffled this deck. I mean, we have the Emperor in reverse, and that is that has been a Trumpian card, but this is also an Elonia muskrat card too, because the Emperor, he's not in reverse. He's very warlike, quick to anger, just an all around, crazy person, but also he's not as it's all bluster. He's not as powerful. So one of those little boys in this group saw early on that the Emperor has no clothes and has an axe to ground. I'm also going to say it's very possible that they may be forced to look at that. They're not going to like it. They're going to resist, but they're going to realize that with all of this legal stuff, that it's so much bigger that no matter how much money he has, he's still a guest in this country, and that could be lost. So we have that as the opposition of all of what's going on now, to see what they're going to do. So let's see. In the past, we have, interesting, they were really inspired. I think that not only by the muskrat, but by Fotis as well, because that's kind of the package, and that they were excited and they were going to meet their orange god. So this is what kind of lured them into this whole thing. Let's see, another one in the past. I'm going to say that they were not aware of the burden that this was going to have. But this is telling me that when they got recruited for this was something, this possibility was kept from them. So as they've come, and they probably come in opposition of the people guarding the treasures, that things have really piled on them, which could mean that there could be a breaking point for because these kids are like privileged and spoiled. Okay, conscious thoughts. Oh boy, here we go again. Anytime there's anything related to here, we have the devil in reverse. I'm going to say that consciously they don't see these two people as you know, they didn't know what they were getting into. They didn't know they were hitching their scooters to the devil, basically. I'll bet you some people told them, but they just could not see that with the devil in reverse. They just did not. This whole thing is saying they really had no idea of what they were getting into. So subconscious thoughts. The hanging man, which is about I'm going to say all that you know, deep down inside they were going, oh, we'll be seeing the world and we'll be seeing things from a different perspective, and that this is going to be so great, which helped them to and I think they were telling people, oh, this is the way you see the muskrat and Fotis, that you've got to look at it from a different perspective like we do. So, you know, that was kind of like the undercurrent of getting them into this mess to begin with. And kind of pretty much stuck. I think a lot of this is their parents, too, with their business dealings and whatever with him, and whatever way they sold their soul to the devil. I'm starting to see this is very Faustian. So presently what is happening is that the Nine of Cups in reverse. So when this is upright, it's all about their being in the comfort zone. Everything is laid out for them. You know, they're in a state of like nothing can go wrong. It's kind of a fool's paradise. But right now with this in reverse, they're getting, with this lawsuit and stop and destroy, this has taken them out of their comfort zone. And it also has come down to really be careful what you wish for, because I think they may have been competing with some others to be in on this project. So that they've been yanked. Oh, and here we go. Nine of Pentacles. Wow, lots of the 2 9s in a row. A Nine of Pentacles in reverse, which is saying, with Letitia James, your family money is not going to be helping you now. You can just forget. It might have helped you wherever you're from, but it's not going to help you now. So then we come to hopes and fears. Oh boy. Interesting. This was the theme of a recent one. I don't know if it was the last one or the one before. This is going to be part of their infighting. I think that, you know, with their hopes dashed, they just don't have emotional maturity. And so this is going to set them off against each other. And because I think their fear, they don't know else how to react, because their hopes have been kind of dashed that this is going to be smooth and he's probably going to give them a nice bonus or something like that. And their fears coming out there's that infighting again. It's interesting how there's a theme running through these three readings, which I never thought would happen. So in the near future, maybe before Monday, okay, the Four of Cups in reverse. Boy, that's been coming up a lot too. So this is pretty much they're not handling their emotional life very well right now. I mean, their world has been turned upside down. Three Cups in reverse is saying they've pretty much run out of options and they're looking at this one thing and they really, really don't like it. So I think what's telling me on this one is that they're going through a little bit of denial and bargaining for this, which is kind of normal. So that's the near future. Okay, so looking ahead a little bit, which should probably lead us into the next one, is the Six of Pentacles. And there is a scale in this. So this is pretty much the court thing. And as this money is going... the money is going into the hands. You can't see the bodies of the less fortunate. The money going into this invisible person. And this deck is so interesting. Into the hands of the invisible person. It's like they've been so sheltered. They've never seen what it's really, at least maybe out of the window of their no further than the window of their limos. They've never seen what poor people, the struggle that they go through. They get locked up, they're going to find out in a hurry. So, yep, this is saying their money isn't going to do them any good. It might get them bail money, but I've heard possibilities if they do not follow through with this order, they could be locked up until they figure out what to do with them. So, to conclude for this one, if, this is looking like if they're smart, because this is coming all down, are they going to save their own behinds, or are they going to throw themselves under the bus for their leader? So in conclusion, the Ace of Pentacles in reverse, learning the lesson that all the money and the power isn't going to really help them. So I would say that to me, and did we have major arcanas? Yeah, we had some major, we had enough major arcana cards in here to pretty much say yes. That there may be some indecisions, but I think they're going to get a little bit, I think fear is going to probably make them comply with this court order and to start to, they have, there is some very sophisticated way that I read about that they have of, seeing if they have been destroying things. I mean, good old Letitia, she's just not, well, I'm going to tell them to do it and hope. No, there's something in place with the judge that's going to say, no, they just can't say that they did it. I think I'm going to say that everything down to their cell phones has been confiscated. Will be, or they're really watching them to see everything that they have on every single device of theirs to make sure, and I am sure that all their belongings will be thoroughly searched to make sure that there isn't a cell phone or any kind of device that's being hidden, because as they say, Letitia don't play. So on to the next thing. Okay, I'm going to do a quickie one, since this has been a very big part of this, is to see if there has been a spy in the camp that's been kind of moving. I mean, I don't think that he's been causing, things to be moved along in a way that he caused all of this, but I'm going to say it's possible he could be very helpful. So I'm going to see if I can do just a shorter read on this one. Because I think I know that the court cases are not going well with this administration. Very surprising. I think there's a secret part of Felon 45 that with after that Time magazine cover with the muskrat sitting at the presidential desk, I think there's a part of FOTUS that really wants him gone. So it could be interesting to see if there's anything that comes up in the reading that even though he'll kind of lose on the point of getting all that data, his ego may win out, or at least secretly he'll be hoping that, because I mean, this guy is he's taken all the air out of not the room but out of Washington D.C. and the surrounding states. So let's see, long-term consequences for what the muskrat and the boys have done, and to see if it kind of goes out to the tech bros themselves. And the interesting mix is the MAGAs and the tech bros are like the Hatfields and McCoys in hillbilly folklore. Okay. Big feuding families, although unlike the old tale, one team has guns and the other doesn't. Okay, that could be interesting. Okay. So we are going to see the long-term consequence. Oh, wait, no, we were going to see about the spy, and sorry about this, my notes a bit. Okay, first of all, spy in the camp. Okay, so we've got the King of Cups in reverse. So this is the okay, this is quite some toxic energy. This is the, I'm going to say that this is the muskrat, and if he's been increasing his ketamine usage to cope with this, which is quite possible, because I think he's been self-medicating. From what I've heard him say, it's quite possible he's been self-medicating, which isn't going to help matters any, but in the long run, that sort of thing has a way of winning out over reason. So we've got that as like kind of like where they're at now, and I'm going to say that his paranoia could be going up, worrying about someone's helping them out. So with the energy of this operation has been stopped, has been halted. And so that's putting the stress on him, and he's kind of feeding it out to the boys, which means they could be picking up on this. It must be a very interesting relationship. Okay. This has weakened them. It's kind of like you can't believe they didn't see this coming. Or it's not only weakening, but it's showing that, in fact, they had a false sense of strength, and now this weakness is coming out, and someone's going to smell some blood in the water over this. Oh boy, I cannot believe this. I cannot. This is some serious stuff here. Those guys between the muskrat and them, they are really at each other's throats right now. They just don't have the emotional equipment to deal with something that they had the idea of how it was going. So they're turning on each other. Okay. Ace of Pentacles in reverse. Oh, I'm going to say that that this is a ill-gotten gains. In this context, it's ill-gotten gains. I'm going to say that this may be a little bit of karma for these guys that have learned greed from their parents' knees and probably their gods. But it's just turning on them. It's not going to be a good thing. They may or may not learn the hard way. So in opposition, we have the King of Swords. That's the judge. That's the judge who gave the orders. He goes kind of nice with the Queen of Swords, Attorney General Letitia James. So this is the judge's orders, which is really, I'm telling you, this has really just thrown them into a tizzy. Then in the past, we have the Page of Wands. This is very much the temperamental, spoiled brat energy that, it's sort of like very entitled, and if they don't get their way, they'll throw a tantrum because they've done that ever since they were in the playpens or the cribs. So I'm going to say that this energy has been really, really, really coming out. And if there is someone, one of them, who is not exactly on their side, it's kind of like that person is smart enough to know that they set that off in them, and also could be throwing a bit of gasoline on this Five of Wands too. So this is looking like very quite possibly okay. So that this is like they don't know what to do. They in the past, it's like something new has been thrown on them. They don't know what to do. I somehow think that this kid is probably smart enough to know that. So it's kind of like playing on the vulnerabilities and using the old trick of, well, if I can divert their attention away, from trying to discover me, then leave them fighting amongst themselves and undecided, then I participate to make it look good, and I slip under the radar. Okay. Then we have the Six of, and I did shuffle these very well. We have the Six of Pentacles in reverse. So again, that's kind of like the money. It's that whole money thing that it's just not doing what it's supposed to do. It's not the one hand washing the other and will throw a few crumbs to the peasants kind of a thing. That whole world is being turned upside down. So we're going to go into the present again with the regrets. The regrets now, that there are regrets, which is telling me that, they're really sorry. I'm going to say that with this drama going on, that with the spy in the camp aspect of this, what I see happening is that he could be playing on all of this to really to get them away from that, but that's only temporary. So then we have, the Pentacles. They are forced to reap what they have sown. They really regret it. And this could also mean that they may be losing their jobs, or the whole thing may be falling apart. Because I'm telling you, with this going on, I don't know if he's going to be able to recruit anybody else to fulfill this. So this is actually where they are at right now. So we're going to do a little bit of a hopes and fears thing here. Justice in reverse. This is about karma. This is about justice not working out the way they thought it would. It kind of comes down to if wherever they're from, whether it's South Africa or wherever they're from, is that this isn't the same thing as their father, bailing them out if they get caught with a DUI, or what I've heard about the police in South Africa. Whoops, they didn't have the cash on them for the bribe money. When they got stopped, they get hauled off, and then, their parents bail them out before they even see the inside of the jail cell. So they're going to see that in that hope that that isn't going to happen. So the fear is like it's a whole new ball game. So let's see in the immediate future. Immediate future. Okay. The King of Pentacles. Um this is telling me this is a like their image of both the muskrat and the and felon 45 is that somehow their riches of the King of Pentacles is kind of like the little straw of hope that money is going to that money and power may get them out of that. So this is kind of an illusion. So that's in the near future. And but what it's going to happen down the road is that they're really, this is, a whole new world. They're going to be trapped in their own paranoid thoughts, which is a prison. The inability to, they may see enough reality to know they don't want to end up in jail in New York, but they'll be blind. But they're going to be blind to a lot of things. I would say if that spy in the camp is dwelling there, I think what they're going to do is, I think that in a way that, again, this is a distraction from them seeing what is going on. So I think to conclude, all except for, this is where we're really telling me, all except for that one guy that may have been pushing, feeding some ammo to the legal folks, has figured I was there, but now I have the power and I may be putting on the act, but I am not in that pity party energy that they are. So that's telling me that I so strongly feel that there is a betrayer in the mix, and and that he's being very clever to cover his traps, because part of the way to do it is get them all emotionally wound up and at each other's throats. Play your part very well. And then, just kind of sway the attention off. But it's going to be in the back of their minds. It's going to be. But I think in this way, it sounds like he's probably going to get away with it for a while and can sort of cover his tracks. Now, what would happen if they face consequences and he kind of gets off the hook? I suspect he's figuring he'll cross that bridge when he comes to it. So this is telling me, I highly suspect that that's in the mix. That's real. Now, whether we're ever going to find out about that or not, that's a whole other mystery. So, okay. So the long-term consequences and how it may ripple out into the world of the tech. Into the world of the tech bros. Okay. Okay, we gotta shuffle these up. So yeah, because I think there are no matter what happens. But I think that this is very serious stuff. Now I know a lot of people are thinking, oh, they're going to be bought off, they'll get away with it. I'm not so sure. And even if in the long term they kind of did, that this is going to set off a thing of fear, and that there could be more consequences down the road. But I mean, Letitia James and that judge, they're not playing. They are not playing at all. And I think, people, and another thing is, people would say, well, why did it take them this long? I think they had to have a game plan, really solid game plan set in place. And considering this story. I know it feels like it's years old, but considering that this story is days old, in that context, I think they move pretty fast, but they decided to get their ducks in a row. So, okay. So make sure these are shuffled up so well. So let's take a look at the long-term consequences. I mean, it would be good to know that our stuff is going to be safe. I think this happened maybe just as they were going to get their grubby little paws on the medical stuff. That from what it's so hard because you hear so much stuff. Okay, so the main card for the long-term consequences. Okay, long-term consequences we have. 10 of Pentacles in reverse. This, I think what this is saying is it's saying a couple things because of the Pentacles of the riches and the Pentacles of the health. In reverse, what this is telling me, where this is at, to head this in that direction, is that major corruption is going to be exposed, and about how maybe some money fell into hands so they could get their hands. This is all for entertainment purposes only. I'm a little late in saying it's all for entertainment purposes only, but this is really talking about not only that money thing being exposed, but I'm going to say that the stress of this on the evil twins at the top of the food chain of this is that neither of them are in the, gotta put this in reverse, neither of them are in the greatest amount of health. And I'm going to say that this is going to put more stress on their health things. If the muskrat is increasing his dosage, that, I told you what it does to the heart and the liver. That's going to be really bad. I'm going to say that there are some, I sense in the felonious one, is that he has some cardiovascular issues that are not, this stress is not going to do that any good, but made some bad choices. Okay, oh, very interesting. This is crossed with the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. In an upright position, he's the hard-working, loyal knight, and he moves slowly and deliberately. I'm going to say that may have been the intent, or this might have been more successful had this moved along slowly and thought out a little bit more. But this also tells me that the loyalty between the two players losing in the Ten of Pentacles reversed is that the loyalty that they feel with each other, first of all, I think was an illusion anyway. But I'm going to say that even the appearance of that is starting to dissolve. There are cracks in that right now. That's not really a great recipe for a coup d'etat, I'll tell you. So then underlying that is the Knight of Swords. And their classic flaw is that they can't keep their damn mouths shut. They cannot. They have been showing their hands at all of this. And the thing is, it's okay if they destroy each other, but they're destroying other people. And I'm going to say that the techno world really has their eyes on this, because they're saying, that whole loose lips stuff is a real killer. Oh boy, here we go. So then we have all of the lies. And I'm going to say there's probably a big whopper that's going to be coming out with this that may strengthen the state's case. This is also a card of perjury. So I'm going to say that, and when it's in reverse, I'm going to say there is a very harmful lie that's going to be coming out that's going to be incredibly damaging. And I'm going to say that, because there's so much technology wrapped up in this, and swords is communication and technology, that it really may open up a can of worms with the tech bros that they don't want opened up. I'm getting the image of the stone being thrown in the water with the ripples going out. So there's a lot more to this than we know. So I'm going to say, getting back to our boys here, that all of the learning and the planning and all of this sort of thing is that, that they're, yeah, I've looked at this, because the guy is, he's so focused on that one coin that he's working out. It's like not seeing the forest for the trees kind of a thing. And so they found some very short-sighted people for this project, but that could really turn against them. So let me see. In the past, we have the Ace of Cups. They all thought this was a great idea, and they were really happy because in the beginning, this was just moving on really well as they bullied their way. Very emotional driven, but it's like really, really happy that we're just waltzing into all these places and just getting everything. But underneath, they didn't see what a kettle of fish they were getting into. So it's all of that smug joy kind of thing that's made them not very careful. Well, the whole idea wasn't very careful. So that's setting up in the past for this, which may be giving cause in Silicon Valley, that maybe some of these great ideas of how to usurp this or that may not be such a great idea. So then we see the Eight of Wands, and this is about how things were really moving fast. But sometimes things can move a little bit too fast, if you know what I mean. So there we go there. And coming up to the present, we have the Hermit. The Hermit with the good old snake in the past. And this is very interesting because they thought they were very terribly wise, but ooh, where did that come from? And that looks like it's poisonous. So you shine the light on it. You can't move, better not move too fast. And how do we get around this? And that is the quandary. And that's pretty much stopped them dead in their tracks. And I'm going to say that I get a sense that in tech bro world, it's a real dog eat dog world, and that maybe these power grabs that are going on in Silicon Valley may have people a little bit nervous about what their attorney general's going to do, because California's a very blue state. They have its pockets of Republicans, but they're mostly the country club moderate rich types. Oh, and here we go again. The Five of Wands, that's in reverse. And I'm going to say that coming on top of the Hermit is that individually people are having a real inner conflict of, something unexpected like this happening. A lot of times the Five of Wands is about, there's a couple things. It's the inner turmoil, but it's also like, better not get into any fights or arguments. We have to be careful of who we cross, if you know what I mean. So so it's like not trusting anybody and maybe avoiding conflicts at all cost, because the word could be getting out that these kids are like really at it, and that they could be turning on each other, all this kind of thing. So hopes and fears. The Three of Cups. It's like they were hoping for a celebration, But now that's in reverse, and everybody's in for free fall. And the Cups in Reverse is talking about a lot of unhappiness, and it's kind of a dangerous thing when you've got emotionally unstable people that are involved in this. And it also talks about as the pressure's on, there may be stepping up of substance abuse. And I know that from working at a convention hotel in Seattle, which was the big Microsoft thing that working a number of those conventions, I'll tell you, those tech boys, they love their microbrews. They love their microbrews. So I'm not saying that they were all raging alcoholics, but they had plenty of it on hand. And what I'm going to say is that there could be a temptation to be abusing this, and then there's fear and others that could be telling. It's all about like their secrets and not, all of this stuff, like not. And then we go back up here to the to the Knight of Swords in reverse, about they can't keep their mouths shut. So a lot of tension, mental instability. What they thought they would be celebrating is like, I don't know, we've got this. And then those crazy rednecks with their red hats that have guns and they hate us. And so I'm going to say that this is just another thing that's pretty much adding on to their fears. So then in the immediate future, yep, the Ten of Cups, their happy little world and their little family, their little techno families is getting upset. And it's kind of like their younger counterparts in DC. They were not expecting this to happen. It's like these techno people, they live in their own worlds. I've been observing them for decades, They really live in their own worlds, and now they have to be faced with how the real world is. And they're not liking it very much. So that's in the short term. In the long term, the Hangman in reverse. They're going to have to start to look at things in a different perspective. They're going to have to see that they live in the world with other people and outside of their expensive homes and the campuses and all of that sort of thing. They're really, really resisting it. But what this is saying is that they're really not going to be able to, especially if there's a constitutional scandal going with the threat of people going to jail, and they are figuring, well, we may have contributed a ton to the campaign, but we know we can't count on that crazy man for having our back, because we know he's thrown a zillion under the bus. So to conclude with this, I'm going to say walking away, that it kind of walking away from this whole cult thing, kind of an emotional thing that they haven't, expected. And what they're going to do is just walk away from it emotionally. And this can become every man for himself too, as well. So, whether that's going to exactly work or not, I don't know. Okay, so I don't think I need to read on the conclusion so much, like what we can, or maybe I'll just do a 4-card thingy. So in conclusion as to what we can do, and I know that this whole thing has been one of the more upsetting aspects of all of the horrible things he's done since, 2017. I mean, really, really god-awful stuff. And it has thrown people into an emotional tizzy. And it's good enough to say, well, stay calm. This too shall pass. And we know that intellectually. But I have to say, on an emotional level, that's a whole different ball game altogether. So that's very difficult to do. And but I think it's really important to keep those things in mind. It's like they have built They have built this whole thing, and I even think this with because this goes out to Project 25 and all of this sort of thing, that it's built on a foundation of sand. I mean, they may be able to terrorize us for, a couple of years, and I'm being really generous with that, very generous with that. But these things can't go on. They never have in history. I keep saying it over and over again. It can't go on here. So I'm going to take a real quick, because this is going on longer than I thought it would. Okay, so I'm going to take a very quick look at the cards just to see what do the cards talk about as to how we can get through. Now, this has got to make us pretty happy, but people are afraid, like, they're going to get away with it anyway. So, but at any rate, so what we can do is Queen of Wands in reverse. That's telling us that you don't want to live in a whole thing of mistrust, but what this is saying is that she's the bad-tempered and unfaithful queen. It's keeping yourself aware of the fact of what this whole thing is. She's not faithful. She doesn't have anybody's back except her own. This is a big lesson. Just be aware of this. Because when you're aware of this, it gives you more ammo to fight it. And then we have the Five of Swords is to be, you have to take these one thing at a time. Be grateful that these boys have been caught, because when this is in reverse, this means this has been caught, and now they're very isolated from their colleagues and everything else. When this is upright, they're still isolated, but they've kind of been getting away with this. So what this is saying is that keep the faith, and that they're just not going to be getting away with this. They may have, it may seem like they always do. And so we have here the Two of Pentacles. And the whole thing is just to, keep our own lives in order. And in the background, know that ship is going to sink. But it's kind of like keep our own health, keep our finances the best way that we can. I know things are getting expensive, but it's kind of like learning to be clever about that. But I mean, it's shocking every time, it's like $100 are gone in a couple of days. It's like with nothing, but it's like keeping your health and your finances as balanced as you can, and knowing that ship is going to go down. That ship it's already listing. So in conclusion, we have the Death card in reverse, which is saying, I think that I look at this as like maybe the U.S. is going through the near-death experience, and I've heard other readers say that the thing about this is that whether he won legitimately or not, the universe did that to us to really drive the message home to those cult members, to completely disillusion them by her. Of course, we're the collateral damage, but this really is about how sick we are now, and it's a near-death experience, but it's really up to us to give up a lot of stuff like the king worship. And we see that while the cult members are doing it, we all do it in a certain way. It's like with the Super Bowl and our favorite players. It's one thing to admire people, but to elevate them to godlike status is where the problem is. So that's something that we need to look at. And there's religious, so we have the religious figure here, which is the big problem, and we need to let go of that. And then here's the king. The king is dead. Long live the king. It's like we've got to let go of this hero worship that we have. We can appreciate an actor, an athlete, but no, They're just regular people like the rest of us that they have a talent. And maybe sometimes they're a little overpaid for it. So I'm going to say what this is saying that is that it goes back to keeping our own houses in order, but on the one hand is knowing that in the end they're not going to get away with it, and the boat may be going down, but we do our best to keep on an even keel. And I do like the fact that there's a rainbow with this, that to me that gives some hope. That gives some hope that after this storm we will see a rainbow. But to know that sometimes you have to go through near-death experience to wake up. Unfortunately, we have to be caught up in the lesson, but maybe there are many lessons in our own lives that would prevent us from ever going the route that so many people did. So, oh wowie, did go over that what I thought I would, but I always do. So at any rate, thank you all for listening. Subscribing, liking, and commenting would be great. So everybody take care of yourselves, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.